So you're thinking about making the move to Jacksonville, but you want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of what it's like living here in Jacksonville. Stick around because one of the pros and definitely the last con that I give you might surprise you. If this is your first time visiting the channel and you want to know all things Jacksonville, subscribe below or tap the bell for notifications so that you can be the first to know about what it's like living here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm Alice Toy with Compass Real Estate, and every day I get calls from people just like you. So whether you're moving next week, next month, or next year, be sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, or send an email so that I can help you make the smooth move to Jacksonville too. All right, I am so excited to talk to you about the pros and cons of living here in Jacksonville, Florida. So I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, and I moved to Jacksonville, Florida in about 2011. And so I lived here for a few years, and then I left for a little bit. I lived in Virginia Beach, I lived in Destin, Florida, and then I came back. And I absolutely love living here. After being able to experience a few different towns, it really helped me realize what I appreciate about living here. Now, of course, there's always going to be some bad things about every town, but let's get into it. So the first pro that I'm going to share with you is schools. So in the Jacksonville area, we have 3 school districts that out of the 68 school districts in Florida, 3 of our school districts are ranked in the top 15. So the St. Johns County School District is ranked number 2, the Nassau County School District is ranked number 13, and the Clay County School District is ranked number 6. So if you have kids, if you have a family that's going to be in school and you're looking for good schools, this is a great area for you. All right, the second pro is the weather. Of course, we're in Florida. Here in Jacksonville, we have 220 days of sunshine per year. And what I love about Northeast Florida here in Jacksonville is that we actually still get all 4 seasons. We don't get the 4 full seasons, so we're not going to get any snow, but we do get a little taste of the cold. So if you're living further south in Florida, like you're down in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, it's going to be pretty warm throughout the year. And here in Florida, we're going to get summer. We do get a nice fall. Then we get a winter, and the winter's not that bad. The worst that we really get here are freeze mornings. And, I think maybe once every 30 years, it probably flurries. But overall, the winter days can be so beautiful here. You're going to see clear blue skies, the sun's going to be out, and it's just such a beautiful time of the year to be outside, especially after you've been through summer and you need a little break from the heat. And we also just have a nice spring. Now, the spring can get a little bit wet, but I'll get into that later. Okay, the third pro of Jacksonville is the airport. So again, like I said, after living a couple different places and also being someone who travels quite a bit, I can appreciate having an airport that has good flights. And so Jacksonville International Airport has over 9 airlines that have over 85 nonstop flights. And right now we're even adding new terminals so that we can increase that amount. So the chances are that Jacksonville probably has a flight that you need, or it's going to quickly get you to a hub to a flight that you would need. I also like that the location of the airport is pretty central. So no matter where you're living really in the Jacksonville area, you're probably never going to be more than about 45 minutes to the airport. And like I said, as someone who travels quite a bit, having a close proximity to an airport that gets you places is really important. The fourth pro that I have for you is sports. So if you're a sports lover and you love going to sporting events, then Jacksonville's a great place for you. We have an NFL team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we also have a AA baseball team, the Jumbo Shrimp. Yes, the Jumbo Shrimp, they just renamed him. And we also have an ECHL minor league hockey team, the Jacksonville Icemen. And personally, one of my favorite things is going to an Iceman game or a Jumbo Shrimp game because they are so much fun. They're affordable, they're so much fun, and you might be surprised at how many people actually show up for these games. So if you love sports, then Jacksonville's a great place for you. And the other thing I love about these sports arenas is that they're located downtown. And again, just like the airport, no matter where you live in Jacksonville, you're probably never going to be more than about 45 minutes from the downtown area. So the sporting events are pretty close by. Okay, the pro number 5 might surprise you, and the pro is hurricanes. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying hurricanes as a pro. And the reason I'm saying hurricanes as a pro, because in this area of Northeast Florida, Jacksonville has never been hit by a Category 3 hurricane or higher. So the number of direct hurricane hits that Jacksonville has actually had is very, very low compared to the rest of Florida. So if you're living somewhere like the Panhandle of Florida, off the Gulf of Mexico, or you're living in more South Florida, like Miami, that type of area, they see more hurricane hits and a higher probability of having a hurricane. So one of the pros of living here, being higher up, having the colder water, is that we get less hurricanes, we get less direct hits, and the probability of them being a high strength hurricane is very low. So if you're moving to Florida and you're worried about hurricanes, then Jacksonville might be the place for you. Okay, the fifth pro that I have for you is the diversity of neighborhoods that you can find here in Jacksonville. And what I mean by that is if you want to live in a walkable neighborhood and you want to be close to the beach and you want to live that surf life, we've got you covered for that. If you want to live in a place where you have a community and you have a master planned community with a pool and trails and sidewalks and playgrounds for your family, we've got you covered. If you think that you want to live in a downtown area where there's historic homes and you can walk to everything that you want to do and restaurants, we've got you covered. And even if you want to get a little bit out of the path and get out to the country and have a little more room to breathe, we've also got you covered. So one of the best parts about moving here is that if you have an idea in mind of what kind of community you want to live in, we probably have something great to offer you. All right, the last pro, number 6, that I'm going to talk about is the beach. And I love the beach here. And again, having lived in a couple different places, I lived in Virginia Beach and I also lived in Destin, on the Panhandle in the Gulf of Mexico. There's a couple of special things that I love about our beach here in Jacksonville. So one of the things that I love about it is that we can ride our bike on it. So here in Jacksonville, which I think is unique to this area, is that you will see people riding their beach cruisers all around the beaches area. And so there's two streets, First Street and Second Street, where it's really a quiet area. There's not a lot of traffic, and it's easy for you to ride your bike up and down to be able to get to restaurants or shops or different bars. And I also love that when the tide is low and the sand gets packed down and it's hard, you can take your bike out onto the beach and actually ride your bike on the beach. And so I think that's one of the unique things we have about our beaches here, is that we actually have a beach that's very long. And so there's plenty of room for playing games and biking and laying out when the tide's out. And that's one of the things that I love about the beach. One of the other great things that I love about our beach is that it's not a huge touristy area. So we don't have a ton of hotels here in the Jacksonville Beaches area. And so therefore we don't have a bunch of tourists coming during the summer, not like you would in places like Daytona Beach and other towns like that. So throughout the summer, there's never going to be a huge amount of tourists here crowding the beaches. So there's always going to be room to breathe on the beach, room to play, and it's not going to feel like there's a ton of people crowding at the beaches. Now, of course, during the summer, the beaches area does get more traffic because everyone's going to the beach. But again, it's nothing like going to Daytona or going to Destin, to those touristy vacation beaches. And the beaches here just really feel residential and they feel like home. Okay, you've heard about all of the good things, and I could probably keep going on a few more, but let's talk about some of the reasons why Jacksonville might not be a good fit for you. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is traffic. Now, in comparison to some other cities like Washington, D.C., our traffic may not be that bad. However, if you're going to be commuting every day, there are some roads that can get pretty congested during those typical rush hour times. And so if you're going to be commuting to work and you're going to be on these roads during rush hour, especially if there's an accident, and let me tell you, accidents happen all the time. The lanes get shut down to one lane, and it can really just take a commute that should be 30 to 35 minutes and turn it into an hour-long drive. So with even more people coming in and moving here, the traffic has become more congested, especially during rush hour. Okay, the second con of living here is the inconsistent weather here and the downpours of rain that we have. So it could be a beautiful beach day. You just got to the beach, you set out your beach chair, your tent's ready, just cracked open your favorite beverage, and out of nowhere, the sky opens up and it's pouring. So this happens often in Jacksonville, especially in the summer, where one minute it could be perfect and sunny and a beautiful day, and the next minute you don't know what happened and you're scrambling to get everything cleaned up because the sky has opened up and it is pouring down rain. So that happens quite a bit when you least expect it. It's never planned, but it's one of the cons of living here. But the great part about it is usually as fast as they come in, they're out the door and it clears back up and all of a sudden the sun is back out. Okay, the last con that I have for you, number 3, the one that might surprise you, is that here in Florida, there are no basements. And so like I said earlier, someone who has moved here from Pennsylvania, and I grew up having a basement and working with a lot of clients who come in from places that have basements and they're used to having that storage or having an attic. We typically do not have any attics either here. So a lot of times the attic storage is pretty small and we don't have any basements. So if you're relying on those places for your storage, you might want to consider getting a 3-car garage if you move here. Or you might have to get a storage unit, which is probably one of the reasons we have those popping up everywhere. So my number 3 con is no basements here in Florida. I hope that this information was super helpful to you. If you have any more questions about the pros and cons of moving to Jacksonville, give me a call. I know you're going to love living here in Florida. I'll see you in the next video.